सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। मूकं करोति लङ्घुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। पुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। Hari Om. How the process of Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana is going to eventually take us to our goal of knowing our own true self. So Shravana is to become aware of, gain that knowledge. That knowledge of what? Not any objective knowledge, not the aparavidya, but the paravidya. That knowledge which will tell us about our own true self. Having become aware, then there will be those doubts which will come to us, which will say that, oh, is this really me? Is this what the Upanishads say? And comparing to my experiences, comparing to the world that I know, comparing to the world that I have given reality to, I will keep analyzing, and as I go along the way, I will keep clearing my doubts. So this process of churning, this process of reflecting upon the truths of the Upanishads, the truths of that knowledge which I have gained through Shravana from a learned guru as in one who is Shrotriya Brahmanistha. So having gained that knowledge, I will then try to check the knowledge with my life, with whatever is the experiences I have gained over the period of time, and so to my discussions on this subject with others who might be on the same trail. I might try to gain more clarity. And much more as I go and do deeper Shravana, these doubts will be clarified for me. So the process of Manana is clarification of doubts. Now you might say, okay, that has given me clarity on the knowledge of Shravana. But then what is this process of Nididhyasana? So Nididhyasana primarily is for clearing all the erroneous notions which, despite having 100% clarity on the knowledge, are still fighting or making me doubt this knowledge with my present experiences. So why isn't it that I why isn't it that I am getting 100% experience of that reality despite having gained the clarity? This and then various other notions such as the world still appears my problem still persists. So where exactly am I going wrong in my sadhana? So here is where nididhyasana or abidance in that knowledge which comes about. And this will become effective once I am able to meditate in the right manner. Right? So this chapter 6 is going to give me more and more clarity about this process of meditation. Now to start with, we will want to know, why should we meditate? Why should one sit and meditate? What is the purpose of it? Is it to is it to gain much more prowess over my worldly knowledge? Is it to sit quietly? Is it to gain through various other siddhis that might be there? Or is it that which will give me that final realization? These and various other doubts that we have, or these and various conflicts that we have with the knowledge and my experience, that is what this chapter 6 is going to give me clarity about, right? And then, as we said, the main objective, which even Gurudev says here, is that nididhyasana or meditation, its main purpose is to remove the erroneous notions, right? So what are these erroneous notions? Some of them are such that one wonders, why am I still experiencing finitude? I am that finite individual is so so ingrained in my thinking that I am not able to embrace this newfound reality of mine, which says that I am that infinite truth, which ever is, which never will not be. So how do I come to terms with it? Then when one is going through the ups and downs of the world, then one wonders, what then is the use of this reality when I am still struggling with the world? So Vedanta is here to give me clarity on the knowledge about my truth. To abide in this reality, I have to be able to sit quietly in that meditation, right? And for this, one has to practice it over and over. Only then there will be some clarity which will come along the way, right? So in the as I mentioned earlier in the last class, what we said was that if we take for reference Gurudev's book on meditation in life, in the introduction, Gurudev mentions one fact very clearly. Through his eloquent writing, through his eloquent words, Gurudev says that confrontation of situations is something that is completely unavoidable. Everyone will have their fair share of experiences, their fair share of situations that we can't avoid. Even if we think we can, it's something that we can't really escape from, right? So no matter what aspect of life we might consider, it might be on the family front, it might be on the business front, it might be on the social front, it might be at various stages of life also. It might be when we are a youth, it might be when we are in a grahastha life, or it might even be in our old age, right? So in and through our lives, we will go through various situations such that we, or one might call them even circumstances, that one cannot just avoid. Wonder, how did this pop up into my life? I never even thought of it. I never thought that I will go through a war situation, or I never thought that, I will sometime go through such elation that the next moment when something sad comes my way, I will not come to terms with it, right? So these situations that take me through a topsy-turvy or topsy-turvy kind of ride in life, one wonders how they come, and as difficult as they seem to go also. But if I am not careful, they'll leave such a mark that I am not able to come to terms with them. So how do I tackle with these, right? And is there any kind of escape? So do I actually have a choice is a question which we might ask ourselves. And as we might see, or is there? So what is the choice that one has through these situations? So either we let the situation overpower us, or if we are tough and if we are able to gain our reins, hold on to our reins in the right way, we will master that situation. So yes, do we have a choice? Yes, we have the choice. Either we let it overpower us, or we brave the storm and become masters of the situation. So the tool for this, if we see, is not to focus on the object, but rather to focus on the mind. So why so? Because it is our mind which is actually tackling all situations. So if we have a mind which is equipped in the right way, then we can be winners of these situations, right? So what is Gurudev saying? That what exactly is the reason for meditation? So the reason number one, there are different reasons. First reason there is practice of meditation will bring depth to my personality such that I will be able to face all situations, right? So if we take to regular practice of meditation and we deepen this practice, then it will empower me with a mind which can be a winner in all situations, right? So example is, most times we might see, if we've had a good restful night sleep, then the next day, especially people look forward to that Sunday. They say that, oh, the week has been so turbulent, I'm looking forward to the weekend. And so when that Sunday comes, we just give in to that sleep and we sleep it out. And what happens? Then the next day it goes very smoothly without any kind of agitations as such, right? So even if there are agitations, we'll say okay, no problem, kind of, right? So not that meditation is sleep or sleep is meditation. No, meditation is much more than sleeping, because meditation has a mind which is aware, whereas in sleep the mind is not active, right? So here we are able to take to this practice of meditation persistently, consistently over a period of time. Just imagine, we are sitting at one place at a particular time, in a particular posture. We are able to pull back the mind away from objective thinking and focus it in a totally different direction. Then such a mind has much greater potential and is well equipped to handle all kinds of situations in life, right? So what is one of the reasons to practice meditation? To gain depth in our thinking, to have a mind which has a better depth, to it, right? So, this we can see comes about only when we come under the guidance of a Mahatma who has observed, experienced, and then is able to share this kind of thinking with us, right? So Gurudev here mentions the second aspect of it. He says that if we observe society, if we observe the kind of trend which goes around in the world, right? How it works is that in the midst of abundance, there is much despair, right? If you look around us, now much more than maybe even from earlier times, there is an abundance of wealth, there is an abundance of information, abundance of various resources that. And amidst all of this abundance, what is happening to us? We are much more stressed. We are much more in despair. We are seeing that yes, there is a high of development, and yet at the same time, across the world, underlying is this despair, and everyone is facing it, right? So what a Mahatma does is points out to us that despite all this abundance, we need not actually be in despair. And the way to that is through meditation. Meditation is that which will point us out to the contentment there where there is abundance. Here we have to clearly know this one thing, that no one here is, none of the rishis were ever against any kind of, development, were not against abundance also. They were not really criticizing abundance, but rather the thought of undergoing some kind of stress or despair in the face of such abundance. So what was the solution they pointed out was that one can retain this contentment by being centered in that which is the source of all this abundance, right? And how will that come about? That will come about only when in the seat of meditation I am able to connect with that source itself. So you might now ask, what is that source? Where is it that I will see abundance? Because what I see or where I look for abundance is the world. And you are saying that I have to sit in one place, close my eyes, cut off the rest of the world, go into complete silence and focus on that which is the source. So what is that source? So for that, first I have to know my true nature. And for that I have to be able to first gain that knowledge of my true nature through Shravanam. So when we say Shravana matrena jnanam bhavati, what is it? Through Shravana, I will come to know first what is my true nature. So when I say that, myself is that which is Ananda Swarupa, that which is blissful. And yet what am I doing? I look for that Ananda in the world, right? So, one example that Ramakrishna Paramahamsji used to narrate. He used to tell about, this man who in the middle of the night suddenly feels he needs to have a smoke. And unfortunately he thinks that, oh, now I am thinking of it and there is no fire with me. So he takes the lantern, goes to his neighbor's house and keeps knocking. And finally, when the neighbor, calls out, "Who's there?" And then he says, "It's me. I'm your neighbor, and I've come. I need a piece of charcoal because I have no fire." And his neighbor, though he opens the door, is laughing at him. Why? Because in his hand is this lantern which is lit. And he's going out looking for a piece of charcoal. Right? So this too is the state of a sadhaka, who is thirsting for small bits of joy, small droplets of joy from the world outside, from the worldly experiences, from the situations he faces, while all the while the source of the joy is ever within. Ever within, ever is. So, unless I know that my nature is that Ananda, I actually going to be able to center myself in it. That is one thought. But then, having come to know that I am that Ananda, yet I am not able to sit, or I am not able to own up that Ananda as me. Despite gaining clarity in that knowledge through Manana also, I am not able to own up and say that yes, I am that Nitya, I am that Ananda, I am that which is Nirguna, Nirakara. So, when I am not able to hold on to this truth and take it to be my own nature, how am I going to be able to then face the world at all, right? How am I going to not give reality to the world? So far my reality has ever been this body. So far my reality has always been that the world is real. And now suddenly I have to own up the fact that Jagat is Mithya and this Atma is Satyam. But so much is my hold, or so much is the hold of the world on me or on my mind, that I am not really able to let go. And therefore it is that this meditation becomes my pathway towards that realization of the self, or rather abidance in that self, right? So meditation is that technique which will tell us where to seek this truth. So the more we align to the thinking of Bhagavan Krishna in this Bhagavad Gita, the more we are able to adapt to the process he is giving us, right? Just, so what is the process for it? So Bhagavan is also going to tell us, sit quietly, just make this mind quiet, pay attention to that blissful self which is you, and then be available right there, ever be right there, where that mind has dissolved into that self, right? You will say, oh, this is very easy for you to say. Correct, it is very easy to say, but if we give, or if we have that conviction in the words of the Lord, in the teachings of this Bhagavad Gita, then we will, by consistent practice, by persistent thought towards that which Bhagavan has given out for us in, through Arjuna, then we will be able to own this up also, right? So what is again Bhagavan telling us? He is saying that we are Ananda Swarupa. And this he had told us first only, in chapter 2 is where Bhagavan first mentioned it to us. In chapter 1, we had said that, the Jiva's whole suffering is brought out through Arjuna's lamenting, right? And that was the Arjuna Vishada Yoga. So we shouldn't think that that was Arjuna's Vishad, nothing to do with me or you. But it was actually the Jiva's cry of saying how much I am suffering, Bhagwan, and you are not even paying attention. You are not even getting me out of this whole melancholy of life. I am going on suffering and you are just being my charioteer. So Bhagwan says in this chapter 2, wait, first get to the root of the problem. You are ignorant of your nature and therefore you are lamenting in this way. So what is your true nature? First know that. And then go to the solution of it. Right? And therefore this journey began in that way. And now Bhagwan again is going to tell us that first we have to focus on our nature, which is that blissful self. And then to seek it, what do we take? We take tool of the mind through the process of meditation, right? And this will then over a period of time, when we are able to establish ourselves in that truth also, then it will become more effortless. Then we need not sit in one place, or we need not spend hours trying to come to terms with it. It will just become sahaj for us, right? So here also, one other example which is given is that of the kasturi deer, the musk deer. The kasturi deer, it has that musk right there in the gland is right there in the body, and yet it searches for that beautiful fragrance where? Outside, and keeps running around the forest in search of that fragrance. And so are we. What are we doing? We are in search of that happiness, and for that happiness we are doing each and every action in the world, right? And in such a way only, when the rishis of the yore, they were trying to find solutions, they were trying to inquire into the purpose of life, that various darshanas came about. So one of the darshanas, one such darshanas, when we say, it is a school of thoughts, right? So one such school of thought, it says that the solution is entertain, one can entertain the thoughts of such happiness, right? And depend on whatever our mind desires, right? So what does they say? One is that schools of thought, they came to the conclusion that the solution lies at the level of the mind, right? So how did they come to this? When the mind is agitated, no matter how close, or no matter, even that object of happiness is right there next to me, right there within my reach, and yet what will happen? Yet I will not be able to be happy with it. Why? Because the mind's focus is somewhere else, right? So when the mind is unhappy, I am agitated, right? So when the mind is aligned, the mind is in line of thought, then what is going to happen? Then I am going to be able to enjoy that which is closer to my heart also, right? So one group of rishis, or one group of thinkers, they said that, okay, if you are able to satisfy the desires of the mind, then you can be happy. So what is the best thing to do? Keep working at it. That which makes you happy, that which makes you fulfill your desires, if that is going to make you happy, then keep working at fulfilling your desires, and then you will be happy. So this is said to be the Charvak philosophy, right? And how does this come about? So therefore the rishi said that instead of focusing on the object, what do we have to do? We have to focus our thoughts on the mind. And then further, these other set of rishis, they realized that greater the number of desires, greater is the despair of the mind. So, greater the number of desires, greater is our vulnerability, and greater is our agitation. So therefore, what should be the conclusion? The solution is reduce the number of desires. Once we reduce the number of desires, then the fewer the desires, fewer is the agitation of the mind, and therefore it will result in my focus on the happiness which is my own true nature. Right? So this is what another set of rishis thought about. Of thought, they fulfill your desires. For fulfilling your desires, what should you do? Go ahead. Go out in the world, work hard, and with effort, get what you want. Right? And others said, no, desire going towards objective happiness is not the way. Multiplying your desires is not the way. Rather, reducing your desires and focusing that mind within, that is the way out. Right? So therefore, the reason number 2 for meditation is that there is despair amidst abundance. Right? And therefore, if we are able to find our own true nature, the blissful self, then we can be happy amidst all the abundance that we have. Right? So then further Gurudev says that the reason number 3 to meditate is that as such the life around has become so busy. It has become such that we have lost the mastery over our mind itself. How so? Each one of us, if we look at our own self, we will know what is the answer to it. It has become like, it has become like that dry leaf. When there is a dry leaf and there is wind, there's an airy place and the wind, what happens? The leaf is carried over in whichever direction the wind is going and has no control over it. So too, our mind has become such. One after the other from various directions, our mind is getting pulled, and without any control, the mind goes in that direction. Right? So wherever the object pulls us, there the mind goes. And this is also what was emphasized in the Kathopanishad in the example of the chariot. The 5 horses, the 5 senses with the reins of the mind. And now if those 5 horses are intoxicated, what will happen to that chariot? One horse will go in one direction, the other horse in another direction, and the third horse may be saying that I don't want to go anywhere, I want to stay put here only. Right? Such a chariot, of course, is not going to go to the destination at all. Right? So, if our mind is such that it is overpowered by the world and the circumstances around it, then such a mind is not going to help us in any way. Right? So what then is the solution? The solution is, when we consistently practice meditation, it is going to discipline that mind also. It is going to make that mind go in a particular direction. Especially when we see the practice of meditation, which will be detailed here in chapter 6 also, what is going to be told? Sit in one place at a particular time, focus, focus inward and not on the body. And then in such a state or in such a asana that you are not going to be disturbed by the body also. When one is then focused inward and the pull of thoughts is in one particular direction, then what is going to happen? Then such a mind will be able to be directed or guided towards the object of that meditation. Okay. So therefore, what is also important is to know what our destination is before sitting in that position of meditation, right? So here basically what is being told is sit in that seat of meditation. This wayward mind be disciplined to go where the intellect actually wants it to go. Yeah, and therefore meditation is important. So when we say, who are the rishis who spoke of this meditation also? So one Mahatma or one such rishi is Swami Vivekananda ji himself, who would always speak about the mind and the concentration, right? So he would always say that greatness of a person lies in his ability to concentrate. This is one of his greater quotes where he says that greatness of a person lies in his ability to concentrate. So there is this anecdote also where his Guru Bhai Swami Abhedananda was asked by him to bring him one set of books from the library, and the librarian, being very strict, he would say that okay, there are 7 volumes in that series, but I can give you only one book at a time. So then Abhedananji said fine, the first book, and Vivekanandaji went through the book, and the very next morning Abhedanandaji returned with that first book, asked for the next one. And so it happened for the next 3-4 days, and that librarian was so amazed. He said, Dal mein kuch kala hai, there is something wrong about this. How can this person be reading this huge volume of text just like that? And then Abhedanandaji goes and he tells Vivekanandaji about this, and Vivekanandaji goes to the library the next day, and he says, why do you think that I have not read the text? I have read all these volumes. If you want, you can question me on any of the concepts in any of the books mentioned here. So such was his greatest power of concentration. So point is that if we think it is not humanly possible, then it is only our our attachment to our own limitations which is telling us that this potential is not there within us also, right? So we are so attached to our own limitations that we hold on to our weaknesses and are not able to let go of them, and therefore are not able to attain that goal also. So the more we are able to focus on our true nature and own it up, the better is our prowess also in the world, in the external world, right? So just like basically what is being told here is that just like we are able to train ourselves with skills, so too this mind can be trained through the training of or through this process of meditation. Instead of just doing randomly certain practices, if one is taking to the discipline of this meditation, then one can instill that highest of powers of concentration in this mind, right? Meditation basically then is the investment to develop our faculty of concentration, right? So now if we look at the beautiful way in which Gurudev has presented these 3 points, right? So first he says, and this is from the book Meditation in Life. First he says that the primary reason for us to take to meditation is to remove the erroneous notions. That is the main purpose, okay, of meditation, of nididhyasana, to drop all erroneous notions. Then the reason number 1 in terms of practicality of it is that we are facing various situations. So confrontation of these situations is not, it is unavoidable. So what will meditation do? Meditation will give me the depth of personality to face such situations and not run away from them. Even the thought of running away from them will no longer come to me, right? Then reason number 2, God has given us in abundance. And what will meditation do? Meditation will help us, or will enable in me, find contentment and not despair in the midst of such abundance, right? Then third is the ability of the mind can be harnessed to the maximum potential so that we can ourselves benefit from what the mind is capable of. So right now we are as though only at the tip of the iceberg in terms of our own abilities, and there are many more examples of individuals who are able to tap into that resource within through the tool of concentration, through this method of meditation, right? Be it scientists, be it musicians, be it thinkers, there are many more who have been able to tap into their own inner resource and give maximum to the world through that also, right? So here Gurudev also, he tells us he gives one definition of what meditation is, right? So we can write down for now what is Gurudev's definition of what meditation is. He says, engaging the entire mind in contemplation of the divine. Okay? Engaging the entire mind in the contemplation of the divine or upon the divine. Engaging the entire mind in the contemplation upon the divine by maintaining a steady flow. By maintaining a steady flow of similar thought current. By maintaining a steady flow of similar thought current. To the exclusion of dissimilar thought current. To the exclusion of dissimilar thought current is called meditation. So here the points to keep in mind, or the points to highlight, is one is engaging the entire mind. Second is contemplation upon the divine. So divine there is to be highlighted. Third is maintaining a steady flow. So the highlight over there is of similar thought current. And fourth point is the exclusion of dissimilar thought current. So this is the definition that Gurudev gives. I will just read it out again. Engaging the entire mind in the contemplation upon the divine by maintaining a steady flow of similar thought current to the exclusion of dissimilar thought current is called meditation. And concisely Gurudev has put it in these words, where the source of this definition, if we see, is it includes the definition from Viveka Chudamani, from Panchadashi Chapter 1, as well as this Bhagavad Gita Chapter 6. Okay. Now, if I have to go into the explanation of this, it's going to take some time. So what we'll do is, we'll take up the explanation of this definition in our next session. The first point over there is to go wholeheartedly into this meditation. Not think of it as, some kind of regime, or oh my God, how am I going to do it? It is something, which maybe yogis who are very much in tune with this knowledge, only they can do it. I am still a samsari. I have problems all over. Look at my age, or will I actually be able to sit quietly? Is it even possible? So all these doubts which might come to mind is what we have to keep at bay, and we have to say, I'm going to take to this practice and see how I can consistently follow it, right? And there is nothing to lose, right? If we see, first the reasons which Gurudev gave also, each of the reasons to go forward for this meditation are simple and easy only. They are what we want in our life as such, right? One is to, to be able to confront all situations and not hide away from them. And most of us, I'm sure, have been able to do that in some way or the other through experiences. Now all we have to do is, instead of looking at solutions outside, take a U-turn and contemplate within on that truth. And that truth which we have heard over and over through Shravana, that only we have to focus on, right? So that, right, is one point. Then the other is, despite all, despite abundance of resources, despite abundance of all the blessings that I have got, if I am still in despair, then how is my sadhana helping me? And therefore, what should I do? If I sit in the seat of contemplation, then it is going to definitely, this antaryami within is definitely going to show me the way towards that contentment, whichever is me, right? And the third one which he said is the ability or the potential of the mind to concentrate. So now, especially in these times where we get so distracted so easily, and there are various mediums which can distract us. So sitting in that meditation definitely is going to help us focus our mind in a channelized manner towards one particular goal. What that is, we will see in our next session. Okay. We'll stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Hari Om. Thank you. Hari Om.